Hi, I'm Jane, and together with Jodes, we are two proud feminists passionate about female empowerment. This podcast is our take on the real conversations, real issues, and real challenges we must stay focused on if we're going to inspire the next generation of female leaders, managers, and entrepreneurs to pick up the baton and continue the journey to equality. But be warned, there will be rants and the odd profanity, but mainly just lots of curious conversations, uplifting stories, great guests, and food for thought on the path we still have to travel. It is clear that our young girls need us to harness our gumption and to use our voices now to make the changes we all know need to happen. It's time to be a pioneer, not a passenger. To paraphrase the famous words of a female game changer, Hollywood's iconic Bette Davis, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. So this week we are in episode 5 of series 3 of the podcast. So as a reminder, this series is all about women and work, does it? And today we've teased you a little bit about this episode because we've mentioned it quite a lot throughout this series, because it is kind of the linchpin, I think, that underpins everything in this series. Today we're going to be talking about the male coded game. And you're probably thinking, crikey, what's this game you keep talking about? We did reference
It's not golf.
It's not golf.
It's not golf.
Although it does involve golf quite often.
Possibly.
Sorry, we're being flippant before we've even started. But actually, to survive some of this male-coded game, you need a bit of sense of humour sometimes, don't you?
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
And, I'm sure by the end of this episode, you will understand that too. So you're probably thinking, well, what do you mean by this male-coded game? We've referenced it a bit already in terms of, all of our structures, all of our systems, whether it's in a corporate business, whether it's in, public sector, government, the police, all aspects of society. If you look carefully, their structure, their setup is all male coded. Kind of what we mean by that is, it's been designed, a lot of it has been designed a long time ago by men for men.
Yeah.
And
naturally,
it
wasn't done purposefully to keep us out of it. It's just that's what was going on.
That's what was going on.
We were housewives, we were doing other stuff, weren't we?
But times have changed. Even at the most basic level of the fact that for most households now, we don't, it's not really a choice. We both have to go out to work in some capacity. It'd be a luxury almost for many of us to consider that one of us could be a homemaker, let's call them. Actually both people in the partnership, in the relationship, do have to go out to work, which means that a lot of this male coded setup now does not work. And given that, we talked about this in episode 3, that the majority of the care responsibility, the household responsibility, the mental and the emotional load still predominantly sits with women, this male coded game isn't working, is it, for a lot of us?
No, it makes it even tougher, doesn't it? Because we're already doing more.
Yeah.
We're already doing kind of everything outside of the house. I mean, I've heard so many corporate women say it'd be great to have a wife. I need a wife. Because men that's the position that men are in and have been in, so they don't have any of that stuff.
No.
And so we're already coming to work exhausted.
Yeah.
And then we're dealing with this male-coded game.
Definitely. But this morning we were just chatting, weren't we? We were having a bit of lovely breakfast this morning, chatting things through. And we both said we'd like a butler.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And a housekeeper.
And a
chef.
And a masseur.
Yeah.
We need a daily. We
need our own hotel, basically.
But actually, that just demonstrates though the pace of life, doesn't it? These days, in that we're spread so thin that the capacity to do all the things all the time is virtually impossible. Yet the expectation still seems to sit there. So we want you to be aware of this male coded game. And kind of what it involves. And actually, you spent quite a bit of time in one of your books talking about male coded and female codedness, didn't you?
Absolutely.
And one of the things we share with our big sisters when we train them to be a big sister for one of our Girls Out Loud programs, we talk to them about, the components of promotability.
Yes.
You're probably thinking, what's promotability got to do with this at the minute? But actually, when we talk to them about promotability, it shines a light on the elements that are at play in this male coded game. We have a lovely Venn diagram. We might try and put the Venn diagram in the show notes for you
it makes a bit
today.
of sense, doesn't it? The diagram, people can see it a lot clearer. But this is really in reference to how you climb that ladder. Yeah, it's still a ladder. It's still there.
Yeah.
There's still a ceiling. I won't got rid of all of these things. It's still there.
Yeah.
And that ladder is coded male. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's that ladder. It's how you get promoted, which is what, if you want to sit at the bottom of the tree all your life, then that's fine. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah. And that's acceptable.
Absolutely
if that's what you want to do.
If that's what it's about for you, you don't need to worry about it. If you're aspirational, you want a career, you need to be aware of this.
Yeah, totally.
No two ways about it.
Totally. So, there's kind of three main components to this, isn't it, that we talk about. And those three components are performance, visibility, and personal brand. And I always love doing this exercise because we always start it, don't we, by saying to the women, what percentage of these three components do you think are at play when it comes to
you being promoted?
you climbing that ladder, your promotability? So I encourage you just to think on that while I'm talking about this. Performance, visibility, and personal brand. Where would you add the weighting there? Yeah. Because actually, when we run this activity, most women will put their biggest chunk into performance. Being able to demonstrate that I am good at the job that I am doing.
And they usually rate it between 40 to 60%.
Yeah.
That's usually what they rate their performance. It's how good I am at my job, hitting those targets.
Accounts for
being perfect at the job I'm in.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not the case, is it?
No.
It's not the case. And we see this happen a lot in lots of businesses, that just because you're good at one particular job, let's say you knock your performance out the park, you might be absolutely nailing it. You might be exceeding expectations. You might be getting rated as outstanding in this role. But just because we're good at one job doesn't mean automatically then that you're going to be good at the next one. I think we've used the example before, haven't we, of like maybe being a brilliant salesperson. I know this is a basic example, but it's good for illustrating the point. You might be brilliant at sales, so they promote you to the sales manager.
Yeah.
Well, being a people manager is a completely different skill set than being a salesperson.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, you've been promoted, but you're not that good at managing and leading people.
No, and you've lost the thing that you are good at.
Yeah.
So you've got no job satisfaction.
Yeah. So know that first and foremost, that your performance in your current role, even if it's 10 out of 10, it doesn't equal then your, license, I guess, to go into the next band. And that's not what gets valued in a male coded system. So we've got a bit of wonky thinking on there. So we're going to talk
what's your
about
performance worth then, Jodes? What's your performance worth?
It's just 10, isn't
10%.
it?
10%. And you see the women in the room just go, oh, what?
I've been busting my gut for 20 years. Trying to be shit hot at this.
Yeah. And because, the other thing is about your performance, you're paid to do that job. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to come into work and rock that role. That is what you paid money to do.
Yeah.
So why would that be something that becomes a big issue to get the next job?
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why we do it, and a few of our big sisters have commented on this, there's loads of research and statistics that show about how men and women apply for roles, don't they? That women will look at a job description and they'll need to at least be able to do 8 out of 10.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm competent at that before they will even apply.
Yeah.
Men will have a stab, won't they? They might only be able to do 4 out of 10 of the bits on the
blag the rest.
They'll be like, but I'll be all right. I'll give that a shot.
I'll give it a shot. I've got a good transferable skills. I can blag my way through that.
Which actually illustrates just how much focus the difference in focus that men and women do put on performance. Men know that there are other things.
Men know that the performance
there are
isn't
different
the be all and end all.
levers.
Absolutely, they know it's just like it just needs to be good.
So we're over-investing. We're over-investing
to
in
get
performance.
over this. So when we look at the second one on that little 3 circles that we would talk about, the second one is visibility.
Yeah.
And generally, when we say, you know, what that means is, let's just describe what it means first. So it means that people know who you are.
And this is what women struggle with, this one.
They know who you are. They know what your value is. They, you know, they know what you want. So, you know, you've been pretty clear and vocal and visible about, you know, I'm in here to climb that ladder. I'm ambitious.
I want to go into this area. I want to lead that bit of the business.
Absolutely. By the time I'm 30, I want to be there. You know, I'm putting my hand up for stuff. If there's any secondment or volunteer opportunities, I'm putting my hand up.
And I'm taking credit for the things that I've delivered. This is what women do. I helped to deliver that
my
project.
Team did that. You know, instead of like, well, yeah, I actually led that team. Yeah. I know that your team worked with you, and I know we're very team focused, but you're still leading the team.
Yeah.
So it's like, say, you know, accept that recognition. It drives me potty
if the book
women
stopped
don't do
with
that.
You and you were accountable for it. You don't have to have done all the work. No. You took the risk and you owned it.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's your credit.
Yeah. So when women win anything, or when they get recognition for anything, they always like push it off, don't they? Well, you know,
play it down.
You know, I'd like to thank everybody else. Own it a little bit better. Yeah. So this visibility is about, you know, being seen in the right places, making sure that the top 5 people who you need to know who you are to give you that next job know who you are.
Yeah.
And I had a great example of this. I'm not going to name her, but I had a great example of this. I would say she's one of our Uber fans. She listens to every podcast we've ever done. And I've known her for many, many years. And she chatted to me only a couple of weeks ago about this, saying, Jane, you know, that visibility, it really, really works. It really, really works. She said, I've really thought, right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to really make sure that I'm seen. So I'm going to really make sure people know that I am aspirational and I want these to climb the ladder. And she said, so I've been going to the networks, the internal networks about stuff. I've been putting my hand up in some meetings. I've been going to the coffee machine to have these chats with people. I don't even drink coffee. But I know that there's a lot happens at the coffee machine.
That's where all the people hang out.
Yeah. So I've been going to the coffee machine. So then I applied for a job that was probably 2 or 3 levels up to me. So I knew I wasn't going to get the job, but I wanted people to know who I was.
And know what I was going for.
Absolutely. So she said, so they know who I am now. So I didn't get the job, but that's not why I went for it. And I thought, good on you.
She's playing a longer game
because that's absolutely. That's what visibility is about. Yeah. You know, and men do this quite naturally. Yeah. It's like male coded. You know, they're doing this, you know, all day and every day. I mean, there was some research done that showed that most women spend about 3 hours a month on this kind of activity because they see it as additional to their job.
Yeah.
So they see it as quite uncomfortable. And because it's all about, I got to blow my own trumpet then. Well, because nobody else is going to blow it. And so, you know, they feel quite uncomfortable about it. So they kind of pick off things, but they don't really take it seriously. But men take this very seriously because this is like coded into the system for them.
Yeah.
So they're spending 3 hours a day doing this. You know, they might be meeting somebody in Pret on the way in to have a conversation and a panini and a coffee. Then they're out at lunchtime meeting somebody, having a pie and a pint, or, you know, going having another coffee and a chat. Then they'll build it into their day, coffee machine, water machine. They're making themselves known in meetings all the time. They're putting themselves forward for things. Then out of work, they're on the golf course doing this on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
They're
going to sporting
events. You know, it's built into the system for them.
Yeah.
It's like the system is coded male for them to do that. Now, we don't play golf, or most of us don't. We're not really interested in like cricket or whatever. So we miss out on all of that. We don't do it. Instead of creating our own system, we don't do any of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I need to learn to play golf. Well, you don't necessarily, but you need to understand that your visibility counts for 60% of your promotability.
And most women wouldn't go anywhere near it thinking it was 60%.
No, so you've got to do some of this stuff. You
and
don't have to do all of it all the time.
No.
Because when you think about reason why women don't do a lot of this stuff is, what are we doing at lunchtime if we work?
We're normally running some errands. I'm going to the post office, sending the return
getting the
back
dry
to
clean,
next.
yeah, getting the dry cleaning,
picking the dog food up because I know there's none left for tonight.
Absolutely. So that's what we do in lunch. We don't go in network.
The kids need new socks.
Yeah. What do we do on the way in? Have we got this spare time on the way in to go, oh, I'll meet you in prep for a coffee on the way in? Have we got that? Are we like rushing in just about making it? Because we're getting kids ready for school, and again, we're doing our errands. Do we have time to do things after work? No, we're going straight home to do all this other stuff that we've talked about.
I'm dropping Johnny off at flipping football club.
Ellie at Brownhids and all the rest of it.
We've not heard from Ellie for a while, have we?
I thought I'd throw Ellie in there. You've been missing her. Jones has this thing about me, and when I refer to teenage girls, I always call them Ellie, and I do. I
can't wait to meet Ellie.
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with lots and lots of Ellies. I can assure you. So we need to be more strategic about this. We need to think about it. We need to recognise it's 60% of the game, and that the game, and it's a male-coded game. And why wouldn't it be? Because it's historical. It's always been like this, but we need to recognise it.
Definitely.
And we need to build it in, and we need to build it in without guilt. Because we don't need guilt about it.
The light bulb moment for me when you first shared this with me before I started doing Big Sister training with you was the whole sponsor piece in visibility. That actually, and it is linked. It was when you were talking about sporting events and golf and all of that. Is that actually men are having conversations, and you talked about who are the 5 people who need to see
know
me.
You are.
And actually, what men are often doing is tapping other colleagues up who have got influence, who know the person that they need to be seen by, and who's going to open the next door for them, and they're advocating for them. And when someone says sponsor, it's like me coming to you as the next one up and going, Jane, this is where I want to be in 18 months' time.
Can you help me?
I need to be seen by such a body over there, and you're like, well, I'm well in with them. I can open some doors for you there. I can make sure that you're seen in those circles. You can come with me to such a do, and I'll introduce you to Pete and John.
Or you're not in that room, but I am, so I'll mention you. So when we're talking about it, I'll go, I think we should talk to John, because John's perfect for that, and the job's already gone to John before it even gets advertised.
We're not doing that.
We're not advocating for each other. We're not. If we are around the table, we're not advocating for each other. So it's like when we talk about sponsorship, and again we do this in the room. Even I did a big event a couple of weeks ago for a massive global recruitment company. They didn't understand what I meant.
No.
I said, how many of you got a sponsor? And they were all like, what do you mean? What do you mean, like sponsoring, like money?
Matt Millen hula hooping.
Yeah. What do you mean? They didn't understand what I meant. And what I meant is, have you got somebody that's advocating for you in a room that you're not in,
who knows what you want,
exactly,
and has got influence?
It's like
with
more than a
mentor.
It's not a behavioural thing.
No.
It's about somebody that's at a position that you're not, that can advocate for you, that's got your back, that's sort of saying, I'm going to bring you on as my protege.
Who can give you the stage to be visible on.
So we all need a sponsor. We need a sponsor.
That was the big eye opener for me.
So there we go. We've got performance is 10, visibility is 60. What's the last one then?
The last one is personal brand. So what's that leave us with? We've got about 30 left. You've got 30 left, haven't we?
30% left.
You can do the maths. 30 left for personal brand. But you'll have been on personal brand training courses, I'm sure. But actually, this is about looking at this through a different lens. If we put it in the male-coded game lens, it looks very different, because personal brand that's male-coded is much more about things like status, image, power, and positional power more than personal power. Whereas, and that's the way the game's set up. My personal brand is about me showcasing some of that power, showcasing my status. It's about the image I portray.
Where I park outside. It's what's on my door.
What kind? Have I got a mahogany desk? Does anyone have mahogany desks anymore?
It's like the thing that goes on your desk that says your name.
you know, the watch you wear,
the watch,
the suit, the shoes, you know, all of that. Now, I'm not saying, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of women that love a decent pair of shoes and a gorgeous handbag, but when it comes to personal branding work, they're not the bits that register. If it was female coded, then female coded personal brand is much more about what we stand for, our values, our beliefs, the stuff that we're passionate about. Two very different things, aren't they?
I do also think that the one thing we share in personal brand is what you're known for, because regardless of all the stuff that we just talked about, you know, you still need to have a platform that you stand on. You still need to have a niche. You still need to be known for something, other than your handbag and your shoes and your brogues or whatever. So it might be you're talking about something in a meeting, and it's like, you know what, I think you need to be talking to Tony, because he's brilliant at that, you know. And it's like, I always talk about personal brand. If I hear people talking, let's say I've done a speaker gig or I've done something and I hear people talking in the loo, I would know they were talking about me by the language that they use, by what they were saying. I know they're talking about me. That's a strong brand, and that's no different.
No, that's consistent. But women are much less focused on making that known, because it is really linked to the visibility piece, isn't it? Part of being visible is making sure that it's crystal clear to people, who, you know, what you're known for. Totally.
Rather than hiding it or expecting somebody to see it on your CV or expecting it to show up in your performance.
You loved it, didn't you, when I called it my zone of genius?
Your zone of
genius. I make it clear what my zone of genius is. I help women smash glass ceilings, and I particularly have the art around the skill of helping people to be assertive. Zone of genius. That's what I want to be known for. You know, I could do loads of other stuff.
But if you go Jones, so that's it. That's the thing that comes up.
You know, and so
at the moment,
could
change.
I've got freedom to choose at any point. Freedom to choose. So this whole idea of personal brand is knowing that that's worth more than performance still. 30% personal brand, 10% performance. So visibility number one, brand number two, and bearing in mind you are operating in a male coded environment where the weighting is probably sitting more on those egotistical elements of brand, more so than what you feel comfortable with, because yours are likely values based. But know that stop wasting all your time trying to demonstrate your performance.
So here we go. That's the male coded game, and it kind of sits across everything in the organisation, doesn't it?
It does.
Because you know, unless, as we said, you're in that organisation doing something that you're really happy doing, and you're not interested in progression, you don't need to worry about that. But if you are, then this is the game that you're in. And as with any game, you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? So you know, from our point of view, you've got to recognise the game. So if you now start looking for this, you'll find
see it.
This is like a blueprint. So if you become aware of it, now you're aware of it, you can't become unaware of it.
No, you're going to work now and feel like you've got X-ray goggles on. You'll be like, oh my God,
get that. I've never seen that before.
Male coded. Woo woo.
Yeah. So you need to recognise it, you need to accept it, you need to get in it, and you need to play it as authentically as you can, because what we don't want you to do is try and become men.
No,
because we don't want you to become male.
We don't need any more alpha female bitches from hell.
No, we don't. So it's recognizing that this is how the game is currently played because it's male coded. Get in it and start to shift it. So try and be as authentic as possible. Recognize that, that's coming from ego. Okay, I get it. I'm not going to fight that. I'm going to come at it from values. So play it as authentic as you can and get in it and change it. Because you can't change it unless you're around that top table.
No.
And we're not around that top table, are we? In numbers. We might have the odd one here, the odd three here, but in order to affect change, we need to have more women around that table.
And actually what I've seen over the years is the women that have broke through there, and I say this with heaps of compassion, by the way, because these women often get hated. The ones that have managed to get at the table, they've subconsciously, maybe not even consciously realized, but they've turned into the male codedness. You know, it's almost like if they were dressed, they'd have a man's suit on, you know, and it'd look ill-fitting. So we get these alpha females that nobody likes.
To try to be one of the boys.
And you can't be one because you're not one.
No, and they don't like that either.
They don't like that. They don't really let you in, or they let you in, but then it's all a bit brash.
Yeah, or they let you in on
Gets
the
a bit
basis that they
bantery.
know they know what you're doing.
Yeah,
they recognise what you're doing, so they don't really let you in.
But you've got no other support around you because a lot of the other women turn against you.
Yeah.
At that point.
And
but a lot of people hate their women, but my heart goes out to them because they don't know any different.
Well, not only that, they are the pioneers.
They're in the arena. They've tried.
Absolutely, in a way, we should be supporting those women because without them, none of us would be there.
No.
So people talk in derogatory about like somebody like Margaret Thatcher saying, "Oh, she was very male. She was this, that, and the other." Yeah. But actually, if we didn't have her, we wouldn't have cleared the space for a lot of female politicians. No. So it's all right, like having a go at her because you didn't think she was female enough, or you didn't think she did enough for women, or whatever. But she changed the game.
Yeah, she got in the game. She knew it was a game.
Absolutely.
She got in the game.
Absolutely.
And she did her best to change the game.
Yeah. So she cleared a way for other people, whether you like her, hate her, or whatever.
Yeah.
So you've got to recognise that those women are pioneers. You have to recognise that they are kind of making space for others. And I mean, some women will say, "Yeah, well, they're not." They pull the ladder up behind them. Some of them might also do that, but they're still in the game and they're still playing the game, and it's tough. And it's tough to sustain. So we can't change the game unless there's more than one. A token woman's never going to change anything.
No.
But the fact she's there and she's done what she needed to get there, we should support her.
So even if you don't feel like supporting her because might not be being the most pleasant person to be around at the moment,
recognise what she's dealing with.
The best thing you can do is get behind her and help her and allow her to bring some of her more authentic female coded stuff to the table so she feels supported to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's the male coded system for you that we've talked about a few times. And I would challenge you to go away and look at that and come back and talk to us.
Yeah.
Post stuff on the things we post on LinkedIn. Have a conversation with us because I'd be really interested in your view. So here at the end of this
lesson, we've got just one episode to go now in this series. So tell them.
So our final episode in this series is called Two Good Men, and I'm sure you've worked out by now that those two good men are connected to us in some way.
Yeah.
So we're bringing them onto the podcast for the last session to talk about some of this stuff, to talk about how they feel, and to talk about how they feel about feminism, talk about how they feel about living with us, which it's perfect, isn't it? We wouldn't want to live with us.
And to ask them their views on women and work,
absolutely.
Does it? So
yeah.
Make sure you tune in to join us on that episode.
Our final episode.
See you then.
Bye. You have been listening to Jane and Jodes on One. Until next time, remember, sisterhood matters. Together, we are bold, brave, fierce, and unstoppable.